Monster Hunter, a video game about hunting big ol' monsters. Extremely popular in Japan and less popular in the West. Up until Monster Hunter World, that is. Monster Hunter used to be wildly obtuse, extremely dense, and hard to access the tasty portions, like a walnut. Monster Hunter fans have always been like black palm cockatoos. They could get through the density that is Monster Hunter and get to the fun. Especially in Japan. They love Monster Hunter in Japan to the point where it would get referenced pretty frequently in anime. Like this. Side note, this show, Blood Blockade Battlefront, is crazy. And I highly recommend it. Very popular in Japan, very niche in the West, and then kaboom! Monster Hunter World, well, brought it to the world. They dialed back some of the crazy stuff, streamlined some of the goosey stuff, bada bing, bada bang. Now it's a household name, but they didn't sacrifice the DNA of Monster Hunter, and it's still all about those crazy, crazy monster fights. But after a game gets huge, there are bound to be likes that get spawned. Roguelikes, Souls-likes, Metroid-likes, which we just call Metroidvanias, even though Castlevania is a Metroid-like. Castlevania didn't start being like Metroid until the second game, Simon's Quest. Then it was right back to being a traditional stage-based, normal side-scroller in Castlevania 3. Then once again on the SNES with Castlevania 4. No Metroid about it. But Metroid on Super Nintendo was extremely Metroid-ish. But PlayStation comes around and Symphony of the Night is blatantly being a Super Metroid-like, and now we're calling them Metroidvanias? Metroid's valor is being stolen by whip-wielding dinglehoppers, and I will not abide it. There are many important things in the world to be upset about. And this injustice is at the pinnacle. Oops, I got sidetracked. We were talking about how popular games get other games copying their homework. Monster Hunter likes. Not a ton of these. Oh. I guess just not a ton that I've heard of. Final Fantasy had a Monster Hunter-like? Mumble, mumble, grumble. You're not supposed to read the words out loud. You're supposed to perform the sounds of grumbling. Why do I have this written in my script? Aha! I've heard of this one. Very freaky. Instead of natural creatures, it was actual monsters. People who were transformed into demons, and you chose to save them or sacrifice them. Basically, it's free. Oh, I've heard of this one also. God Eater is also freaky, but not as much. But it's extremely anime. And that's the long and short of it. Dauntless? My friend Bronson liked Dauntless.
Just honestly, it was like one of the first Monster Hunter. There weren't a lot of Monster Hunter.
Whoa, slow down. That's enough out of you, Bronson. Nobody likes that crap. All of these people are trying to out-monster the hunt. But you can't out-monster the hunt. It cannot be done. Except that my favorite Monster Hunter game happens to be Wild Hearts. Let me start by saying this. Wild Hearts does not have the same production values as Monster Hunter. It doesn't have the same charm as Monster Hunter. But which of these games would I rather play while we wait for Monster Hunter Wilds to come out? Wild Hearts times 100,000%. Whoa, hold on. Between my Dark Souls takes and my Monster Hunter takes, I'm going to be a very unpopular boy. But I don't speak to be a popular boy. I speak to give my thoughts unto reality. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. Wild Hearts had a rough launch. Technical issues, comparisons to Fortnite. No! But I didn't play Wild Hearts until 2024. In fact, I didn't really play Monster Hunter of any kind until 2024. And when my 2024 Monster Hunter options are a port of a Nintendo Switch game or the 6-year-old Monster Hunter World, suddenly you might start to understand why I find Wild Hearts so appealing. I had no preconceived notions. I was a perfected Buddhist monk. I had no attachment. Seeing a Rathalos was a drop of water in a black hole. Meaningless. My friend Bronson is a substantial Monster Hunter fan and has been huntering monsters for longer than a decade. So when Monster Hunter Rise came to Game Pass, we picked it up and started hunting monsters. Bronson already had grinded the ever-living crap out of it on Switch, so he basically knew everything there was to know about the game. So all I had to do was follow him on my doggo and then fight the monster. And that's really what I needed as an onboarding process for the game. All I wanted to do in Monster Hunter was fight monsters. So playing with Bronson as a Sherpa, I could do that. And it was pretty fun. Doggo drifting is fun.
Drifting.
Insect glaive antics are terrific. Flying around as a Cirque du Soleil performer with a violent crimes criminal record is purest joy. Except I hate the insect part of the insect glaive. Like, legitimately hate it. I'm not an insect kind of a guy. Shooting it at the monster to try and hit its specific part that gives me the red buff never stopped being substantially annoying. But you need the red buff, or your character literally doesn't do his best combos and attacks. You do significantly less damage per second. You're basically not even your full character until you get red buff. But I don't want to keep shooting insects at this animal's face parts. If the insect glaive with its crazy aerial combat and fast, intense aggression instead had a counter instead of an insect, a parry, a Smash Brothers down B, Sakurai didn't really love thinking out of the box with his moves, did he? But if you took the insect out and added a parry in, it would clearly be my most favoritist weapon by an unlimited margin. Correct? Correct.
Oh. Give him the business.
This goofy little umbrella started out as a joke. My sister is a big BTS fan, and when creating my character for Monster Hunter Rise, I thought, that kinda looks like a K-pop band member. So without telling Bronson, I appeared in the world as a K-pop looking man named after BTS's own Jungkook. And without telling me, Bronson appeared in the world as an old Asian man named Master Chang. Thus, the adventures of Master Chang and Jungkook had begun. Then, when creating my character in Wild Hearts, I once again, without telling Bronson, burst into the digital world another Jungkook. This time, much more fabulous.
Oh, yes.
And he, without telling me, spawned another Master Chang. This time, much more cantankerous. The adventures continued. But what weapon would a K-pop boy with blue highlights and eyeliner use? Clearly, this umbrella. But the joke was on me. because the umbrella is the most aggressive and most in-your-face weapon in the whole game. The entire strategy of using this Mary Poppins cosplay is to be close enough to the enemy at all times to be hit by their attacks. See this gauge? If you successfully parry an enemy attack, it raises the gauge, similar to the red buff from the insect glaive. You can't do your best combos and attacks until you're in red buff territory on the gauge. And if you even stop hitting or parrying, your gauge goes down. So it's insect glaive, but instead of shooting beetles at monsters' bum parts, I'm aggressively and majestically flying over to an enemy to parry its attack. What? This thing is the best by an unlimited margin.
You are hero?
Oh yeah.
Wild Hearts is fun for a number of reasons. It's got smooth and well-executed animations. It's got interesting and psychotic monsters. It's got wild and wacky weapons. But these are all things Monster Hunter does. Enter the Kurikiri. Karakuri kiri kakaru kuru kuri that Fortnite-style building people were making fun of. Jokes on all of you. All you haters. Kurikiri is super fun. Squirrel Monster gets up on its pedestal in preparation to launch its Death Tornado spin attack. Knock it down with a giant hammer before it does. Poison Crow is hard to hit because it's flying around. Blast it out of the sky with a firework explosion. Launchers, springs for jump attacks, walls to block a rampaging charge, and it's all fast and fluid. Just hold down the build button and press the corresponding inputs. A bunch of cubes is a wall, a bunch of springs is a giant hammer. Then things get a little more complicated as you go on, and it's like you're playing Helldivers in Monster Hunter. If you're sprinting and quickly call in a single spring, it will just launch you forward as a dodge, or as an attack.
Nice. Oh, he broke his horn.
Call in a quick glider to get an aerial advantage, or drop down from a high place. The building is fast, basically as fast as you can remember the button press combinations. Or if you have a base in the area, slow it down. Build a zip line to get where you're going. Then troll Bronson when he's trying to use it. Or a fan to practice skydiving. An earth-bending badger is trying to escape up a cliff. Master Chang has built a zipline so we can pursue it. The monsters were fun. The building was fun. The Mary Poppins umbrella is astoundingly aggressive. Wait, what? They've stopped support for this game? And there is basically zero chance of a second one. Oh, no. Oh, man. This game was hilarious and exciting, and I think it deserved much more than it got. Monster Hunter Wilds looks stupendous. Well, not on my computer, it doesn't. Just look at these textures for a second. Oh, it's nightmarish. Poppin', stutter, slow down. Some people had it glitch where the textures made it look like a Nintendo 64 game. What is happening over there, Capcom? I'm sure they'll eventually fix it, and it will eventually look amazing and be awesome. But my dream weapon of aerial antics, aggressive combos, and most especially death-defying parries is not in Monster Hunter Wilds. I'll still be using the insect glaive because I love the aerial mobility, but it's back to firing beetles at bum parts instead of parrying with the parasol. Plus, they removed the reset on your jump attack. So now you can only attack once in the air, and you can't bounce around like a sociopath. You can only do one single attack. That was like the whole reason I liked the insect glaive. I'm sure they'll fix the glitches in Monster Hunter Wilds, and it'll eventually be amazing to look at and to play. But my heart yearns for a Wild Hearts 2.